running behind. So if we click, they're still in the threaded control, okay? That makes sense? And all the HTML gets pushed, and everything they do gets pushed off domain. So if we were to reload this page, we're actually tracking the user, okay? And this page, we're pulling the data out of the database that has been pushed off domain by the cross-site scripting exploit. We've sessioned them so we can uniquely identify them. We have their external IP. We have their internal IP. We have their user agent, any keystrokes they add. We can have their screen resolution, their history, the web servers they can access, and their plugins. And then we can start controlling them remotely. So I'm going to actually move this page, and I'm going to make a new window. So actually you can see this going on. You can probably dual screen this a little bit. Okay, so from this little pull-down window, I made it easy for myself to mess with the user a little bit. Okay, so let's say I want to redirect the user. So now they're surfing the page, they're having a good time, and we want to redirect the user. So let's say I want to make them go to the admin screen and log in. Okay, what this does, it references that iframe and says, why don't you go to the blog site and go log in. Okay, so notice in the background, see them redirect? We can actually control where they go. Okay, could be the administration interface, could be any website, their online bank, doesn't matter. Okay, now we're going to log in here. Nobody know my password. And hit login. Don't want to confirm this, don't care. And they will log in, hopefully. I'm sorry? MT. Is it? Should go directly. I only tested this like 100 times. In any event, we'll hit reload here and see where the user's at. So also, you saw we typed in admin. So this code has actually a built-in keystroke recorder, and that every keystroke that you fire will actually get sent off domain. You'll see this happen here if you watch the screen just a little bit. So we'll hit D and see the keystroke right there. As soon as you hit a button, that keystroke goes off domain and we captured it. Neat, huh? Okay, so now let's so there we go. Finally decided to log in. Okay. Now let's see here. Where were we? Where was the window? Okay, so what else could we control the user to do? Well, let's redirect them back to the main blog webpage, and we'll do some text substitution and things like that. Let's see here. Okay, control that. Okay, so we'll send them right back to the victim. Send them back. Okay. So you notice in the background, we've sent them back to their blog webpage. Now let's say we're cross-site scripting, a major news site or some site that really cares about their brand, a credit card company or something like that. And we want to start messing with the content on the page. With this bit of code, with JavaScript, we have access to just about every piece of data on the page, I think all the data on the page. And let's say we want to change this myspace.com to whitehatsec.com, because we can. We hit send, and almost instantly, it just changes it right to whitehatsec. We just send them a command, and they're actually reading a new article, and we can change any aspect of the article we want, and all of a sudden, it's there. So bear in mind here that we're on the real domain name. We haven't switched off domain name. They're still on victim. They still be on bank.com or ecommerce.com, whatever site they happen to be on. We haven't changed where they actually are. So if they're over SSL, fine. But it's not a lookalike domain name. It's the real domain name. So let's try another one. Let's say we want to make the iframe invisible. No problem. Now they can't see us at all. Okay. Now just be clicking around with no one's the wiser. Let's make it visible again. And let's say we want to mess with their head a little bit, and we want to start sending them alerts and talk to them. Okay. Hello, BlackHat. Okay. Start sending them commands and do weird things, and embed flash games on their screen or whatever. Okay. So we have alerts. Now we can overlay images, but on our local office network here, we were actually able to send printer test page requests from the user's browser. So you fire these commands, or you make them go to a web page, and all of a sudden our printer starts firing off test pages automatically. So here's one thing we can do. So now at this point here, again, we know where the user's been, we have them in our threaded control, we have their cookies, we can make them authenticated requests anywhere we want, we can port scan the internal range. So let's start hacking internal network devices here. Okay, so we know the router is, probably on 1.1. Okay, so let's make a new iframe there. Okay, so now we've sent them to the place where we want to go. That's an example that we can force them to go to this particular page, but we don't want them to. This is not the request we want to make. So I'm going to hit reload here a little bit to get a new session. And it's actually going to port scan me again, so I probably shouldn't have hit that button. Okay, so let's go down here, the other session. Let me delete the other session. What session am I on? 5747. So I told you there was a backend database. So we'll delete the one we had before. Okay. Now, we're going to take the URL that we built before, okay, and this is where we're going to redirect them to, okay, so we can make it visible. So for instance, let's go back to see if we're still not authenticated. So we are authenticated here at this point. We don't want to be, so to make it more real. Okay, so let's reload this. They're not. Cancel. Okay, good. Can't get to it, we're unauthorized. So let's send them to the DMZ, and we'll bring them to that URL that we made. Okay, that's where we want them to go to. So, praying that this works. Okay, we'll send them a command. Let's before we send this, let's actually copy this real quick. Make sure we could send them commands at all. There we go. Okay. Now let's send them this command. We'll go send them here, and we'll see what happens. Come on. Nothing? I got an alert again? Huh. Let's go back to here. Let's change that URL again. Okay. Send. There we go. Notice no alert. Automatically updates their DMZ to them. Okay, we'll wait for this to finish and we'll go back and check the router directly. So again, this can all happen invisibly in the background really quick. You hit a MySpace page, a Yahoo Mail page, any page with JavaScript, probably the sites that you trust that have people submitting data. You hit the website, it steals your history, it port scans your network, and then decides to update your DSL router, DMZ, and you so the hacker can attack you directly. So this is what we have to look forward to out here. Okay, so let's go back here, and we can see that we're now automatically authenticated, and now we can hack DSL routers. We can hack anything internally with an IP address. So what's going to happen now? I think now that people have shown that we can start hacking the internal DMZs, we're going to see lots of research into devices like these to get, how do we fingerprint them? How do we, I probably should have covered that part. How do we fingerprint them? How do we hack them? And the request. So we're using all sorts of hacks here to make that possible. Any questions at this point? Everybody scared enough yet? Yes. Can we dump the username and passwords out of the browser? You mean wherever? To tell you the truth, I don't know. I've not tried. So, so the question was, can we dump their existing username and passwords out of the browser? Maybe. I don't know. Maybe depends on the browser. So, another question over here? Yes. Yeah. Yes and no. So, for instance, let's say the yes part. Let's say I cross-site scripted you, and you're currently logged into the firewall. I'm just going to leverage your credentials because I'm forcing your browser to do it. So I'll be able to use your credentials to start attacking the device. But that scenario is going to be somewhat rare. Okay. So, for instance, if I don't know the device, maybe the firewall has a password, or maybe we can brute force it, or we don't know the password. Or let's say it has a cross-site scripting vulnerability in that device, and we've seen a ton of cross-site scripting vulnerabilities in internal devices. We can start attacking it directly using your browser. So it's kind of a yes or no question. Sam? Right. Well, so, you're absolutely right. So in that particular hack, what we wanted to show is that an external person could change the DMZ so we could hack the machine directly. At home, that might be a problem. Depending on your router or your firewall, that might be a problem. If we just want to mess with your printers on your network. So this is just a versatile hack. But basically what I'm going to be describing, what I think is going on here is that cross-site scripting has become the new buffer overflow, and JavaScript malware is the new shellcode. And we're going to see lots and lots of stuff. So it's not just one thing, it's versatile. It's just, what do you want to hack today kind of thing. Yes? Good question. We'll get to it in a minute. Let me just pass through the slides, and we'll answer that question in a second. Yes. Correct. So the question was, it's only vulnerable, let's say, or attackable when your browser's open? The answer is yes. Since there's no exploit code on the system, that's a good thing and a bad thing. If I make you do something illegal, go to some illegal website or hack another machine, if you had a Trojan on your machine, you can claim, well, the Trojan maybe do it or something like that. But if you closed your browser, the JavaScript code is gone. No one's going to see it. No one's going to look for it. It's literally gone. Yes? You could. You can configure it so we can't. You can. Sometimes you can. Sometimes you can't. But who's looking there anyway? I just happened to put hacker there. So. I think JavaScript malware is the new shellcode. So let me finish up the slides here. We'll get to some solutions here in a second, since it's probably a good thing. So let's swap back up. I'll get a second. So one thing I didn't mention, I'll cover real quickly, is fingerprinting. There's all sorts of ways to fingerprint internal devices using the browser while blind. One method that was created was fingerprinting by unique URL. So what you do here is you go image source equals where the web server is, and a unique image URL on the device, whether it's a printer, router, firewall, Apache web server, IIS web server. And what happens is you put an on-error event handler onto the end of the image, and if the on-error event handler doesn't fire, meaning the image was there, you know what the web server is. So you got a bit of uniqueness in the image URL, and now you can figure out what the device is, so you can start tailoring your attacks. This is just one way to fingerprint the web servers while blind. You could do other methods such as unique JavaScript objects, but I won't be covering all that here, in CSS objects. But it's a very simple way. So one way we found was using the PHP Easter eggs, that you can figure out what version of PHP a system's running by using their Easter egg URLs there. Any questions there? I'll cover this quickly, and we'll get to the solution since we seem to be running out of time. Okay. So we got all that part. I'll skip all this stuff here. You can go back to the slides if you want and see more of that stuff. Let's see. Let's start here. Okay, so other dirty tricks we can do using these sorts of methods. We can do BlackHat, search engine optimization.